I'm going to turn this portion of the program over to our business director, Mrs. Mary Beth Rogers.
Okay, so annually every year we're required by state law to do a public tax hearing to get our levy approved so we can get it to our townships so they can start our summer tax levy for the schools. And I just wanted to share some of the information. We have 18 mills is what we're allowed to tax. That's a state mill. We're only allowed to do 8 mills, even if we have more than that approved. And for the last 5 years, we've had a rollback. This is the first year in 5 years we haven't had a rollback. And the reason we didn't have a rollback this year is because of inflation being so high, and inflation is what causes rollbacks. It's when your taxable value is growing faster than inflation. But with inflation being so high this year, our taxable value, even though it's one of our highest, it is our highest taxable value growth that we've had in the 11 years I've been here, but our inflation still exceeded it. So you will see that the original millage at this point is at 18.0516. And then the one that additional millage that we approved just to make sure we never went under the 18 is at 7.7941. That's where we're at right now. Both of those will be up for renewal on 12/31/2025. And our debt mills are 7 mills. And then you got your 2023 taxable value, and then you have your 2022 taxable value with a taxable value increase of 8.02%, which, like I said, that's the largest I've seen, I think, in my entire career. Over 20 years is an 8% growth. So, and I just really quick, I shared this with you guys last year just to give you kind of an idea of some of the things we've done over the years, especially with taxable growth and refundings. We have completed 11 refundings since 2005 with a net savings of over 18 mil, almost 19. And we've done some cost avoidance, putting you at a total of net savings plus interest cost avoidance of almost 30.5 million. And anything else? Oh, and then the last one, because we collected the money in the summer and I didn't have to pay anything until May for our school loan borrowing, we make our debt principal and interest payments in May. I had money sitting there for 6 months that I was able, with interest rates finally being a point where you could earn some income, I was able to invest the money at around 5%. And we brought in another $305,000 that helped our debt. That's just all that is just savings to the taxpayers. Reduced what we owe to the school bond loan fund, less that we had to borrow. I did want to add, this is a new slide I added, just to kind of give you a history since 2003 to now where our taxable value has been going. You can see it was up back in 2003. We took the big dive about the time I started here in 2011, and then it's been slowly increasing since then. And I think, 2023, we're just above where it was in 2003 for our taxable value growth. So it kind of gives you an idea of where we've been going. I thought that was kind of a nice graph to add, and then maybe we can add to it every year. So do I have any questions, as you will be asked to approve the L429 tonight, and so I can get it over the townships.
Oh, everyone's going to be using this. Okay. Okay. Great. No questions from our trustees tonight. Any questions from our community? Strictly on taxation. I see a very curious about 5-year-old who has a question on taxation. That would be very impressive and would earn her big gold stars in school tomorrow. I am kind of curious, though. Very good. Okay, we will recess until 7 o'clock when we'll call the meeting to order. Thank you. but we will go ahead and call the meeting to order and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. McLean, may I have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Love.
Here.
Mr. Meyer.
Here.
Mr. Neely.
Here.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Here.
Mrs. Crane.
Here.
Mrs. Egan.
Here.
Mrs. Horst.
Here. This meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community hearing. There is time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in agenda items 3 and 9. Item 2 is approval of the consent agenda. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the consent agenda as presented.
Support.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 3 is citizens' request to address the board. You are given 2 opportunities to address the board. Under item 3.1, you can request to address the board on any topic that's on tonight's agenda. And under item 9, you are welcome to address the board on any topic. When making comments, please state your name and address and direct your comments to Mrs. Kelly Horst, Board President. Each person may speak for up to 2 minutes, and per established procedures, the board will not respond to questions or interact with the speaker during public comment. And if you'll see Mrs. Allen over here who's standing in the corner, this is where our sign-up sheet is tonight. It's a blue piece of paper. Okay, right now we have no one signed up. So if you wish, at any time during the meeting, if you feel you wish to address the board, when we get to item 9 on any topic, please feel free to just go and sign up on the piece of paper during the meeting. We'll move on to item 4, superintendent update, and I'll turn it over to Dr. Ryan.
Thank you, President Horst. First update is the weather in Michigan is finally nice.
Yay.
We'll let that just hang in the air for a second because it might seem trivial or something you wouldn't take notice, but walking into the Clarkston board office this morning on our way to meet with our ECC, early childhood staff this morning, the birds were singing, the sun was on my face, and I thought, boy, it is finally a place where it feels good. And tonight we get to kind of carry that on because although the weather's fine and hopefully you had a chance to breathe it in today, but if you look at what we get to celebrate this evening, it's just kind of the tip of the iceberg of what we have going on in Clarkston right now. I have Team Rush off to my left. Team Rush. Try again. How about Team Rush global competitors? What would I say to really kind of put you guys in a class by yourselves? You're looking at a group of young people to your right, my left, that exemplify passion, grit, and you're going to get to see them a little close up tonight. But I can't say enough about what they've been able to carry through this season, and I'm excited that they're here tonight. And it's just one more way that you see Clarkston students showing how they're smart, showing how they're committed, showing their passions, and showing that they can pursue excellence. And with Kyle and the team here, I'm just so happy that they can be kind of showcased for our community as a piece. But also I have spread out to the crowd this evening is our teachers that are up for tenure in Clarkston. Huge piece. The commitment to be a teacher nowadays and what it takes to not only get through the education program, to be committed enough that you're going to show up every single day. Some days you're hot, some days you're not, but you're here. You're here for children. You're here for the community's children in Clarkston. Again, I cannot say enough about that commitment, that excellence, about a group of people that have brought just an amazing array of talent and energy into Clarkston. And then to top it off, on top of that this evening, I also have for you our top 25 seniors in Clarkston. These are students who, pursuing their passions, all right, showing their excellence in Clarkston, have managed day in and day out, whether they felt like it or not, to show up, to go after it, to prepare themselves the best they could, not only to make us proud here in Clarkston, but to get ready to go on to the next phase of their lives. And if I look at that kind of as at the tip of the iceberg, what we have this week, we have band concerts. Tomorrow night, be in this auditorium, conducting the band for a song. I mean, What kind of job is that? It's amazing. We have National Honor Society induction this week. We have a plethora of spring sports in full bloom of our students being able to show how they can compete, how they can show their town and their community pride, they can show sportsmanship, and they can go after excellence. And as your superintendent, my update is that things are going right in Clarkston. And sometimes I don't even like to turn on the news anymore, but I like coming into the buildings at Clarkston because I see the smiles on the kids' faces. I see a staff and a community that supports their schools. And I'm just so excited as a father of 2 students here in Clarkston still, as your superintendent, as an educator, as somebody that lives in America right now, how proud I am to be part of what we have going on. So if my update's a little bit high end this time, maybe a little bit towards my usual, it's because I have nothing but pride for what's going on in our community. And May and June is just an awesome time to be in Clarkston. So thank you all for your attendance tonight. Looking forward for a great meeting. Thank you, President Williams.
Well, Dr. Ryan, let's keep that spirit going and that energy. We have several very exciting presentations tonight, and we will begin with the recognition of our robotics teams, 5.1, and we will invite Kyle Hughes, the grande dame of robotics and science, technology, and math in Clarkston.
At this point, thank you. At this point, if our parade could begin, hang on one second. We're organizing the parade. I'm used to doing this in the snow, not in the PAC. Come on down, you guys. So at this point, what I would like to do we have a clicker? On behalf of the Clarkston Robotics program, we would like to have a little parade for you today so you can have an idea of what direction we're going. And it starts with our little teeny ones. And if you could advance the slide. I don't have, oh. First of all, we have our first FLL Explore team. Go ahead. These are our pre-K through 3rd graders. We have this past year. So our preschoolers through 3rd grade we had 50 students this past year, and we show you the grades that are up there. 1 preschool team all the way through 4 3rd grade teams. There are many Rush mentors. The students on Team Rush are expected to mentor either an FLL team of the Explore or the Challenge. And this year we even hosted an official first Explore showcase. Our next level is our 4th and 5th graders, and they are the first FLL Challenge. So we have 5 teams in the FLL Challenge: the Royal Cats, the Fire Cats, Out of the Box,
Thank you for mentoring.
Oops, David. That's all right, keep going. The Code Revenge of the Chicken Legos and the Thunderbots. And so we have 15 Rush mentors that also work with them. This year we had a 2nd place Core Value Award. We had a team that competed at the Michigan State Championships, and Coach Hartman, if you could raise your hand, he received the Coach Mentor Award this year, which was very exciting. As you can see, now the slides get a little bit longer because the students get a little bit bigger and there's more to say. So come on up. We have 53 First Tech Challenge students. We have a rookie team this year, the Chicken Mots. We have the Technados. And we have the Sasha Brawlers. And we also have Team 10016, the Robo Wolves. Now, the exciting thing about FTC is you can see that we had at least 2 mentors or coaches per team. We had rushed coaches that were also helping, and we hosted 1 Okra FTC tournament over at the junior high. But when you look at the awards, you're seeing a lot more awards. There's a lot more tournaments. That's why. These guys we had 2 Okra League champions, 3 different Controls Awards, 2 Innovate Awards, the Think Award, Inspire Award, and the Robo Wolves, who are our team in pink, won their division at the Michigan State Championships and were also a finalist overall. Congratulations, Robo Wolves. And last but not least, we have Team Rush, Team 27. This is our 27th year of Team 27, and ironically, the number keeps appearing. We have 9th, thank you. Team Rush is 32 students this year. We're graduating 6. We have 26 adult mentors on the team, which equates to over 240 years of experience. I found out today, looking at the number of awards, we have 127 awards over the 27 years, which I thought was kind of fun. Give it up for our mentors. And our awards, I didn't want to list all 127. I just wanted to highlight the 3 state championships, which included last year, as well as the World Robotics Championship in 2018 and our World's Chairman's Award in 2014, which put us in the Hall of Fame. And so, ladies and gentlemen, these are all of the robotics students. Just a raise of hands, if you could. How many of you have attended either a summer camp or a lower level robotics team that you've participated in before making it up here? Go ahead and raise your hand. Anyone, even FTC. Were any of you FLLers or campers? So the program grows from level to level. And so we also, I'm not used to doing this part too, we also host in the summer. One of the things that we like to do is have those summer camps. This year we're doing a 3D modeling camp with Tinkercad. We're doing junior robotics for our I call them the babies, my little babies. And then we also have FLL robotics. But last year we piloted the girls, rushing girls to 3D printing and laser cutting. And it was an amazing camp. And we're going to do it again this year. We already have people asking us about it. So hopefully we can increase the number of girls in our program and get them out there just like the guys building and presenting and driving robots. And so with that, I just wanted to say thank you. And I don't have it's not going to the next one. So I just want to say thank you. And if there are any questions.
Great.
These are my captains, so they were supposed to come up here with me.
Hello, captains. Thank you so much. What an impressive, I love the parade. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to work, but that was really a wonderful way to kind of help us kick off our meeting tonight. And congratulations on all of your success, the trip to Houston. I know several of us were following it on social media, and I mean, this is absolutely one of the the prides of Clarkston. And year after year, I mean, you set the bar for success in science and math and technology education and with Team Rush. And I look at these younger faces out here, and I hope that you see these older kids and aspire to what you can do as you grow up and as you look forward to high school and look at what you have waiting for you. I mean, this is one of the premier programs in the state of Michigan, if not the country, and Mrs. Hughes is waiting for you. So, any other comments or from the trustees, Mr. Heyer?
Maybe a question for the captains. How lame were you before you got involved with robotics, and how awesome are you now?
Okay, I think that's a better question for other people because I was pretty cool. But honestly, I didn't think I would ever join Rush because I was like, that's a bunch of nerds. And I was right, but they're super cool nerds. So I would say that I was like mediocre cool, and now I'm ultra cool. Could you talk to people before? Oh, no, I couldn't talk to you. And I mean that in a nice way. Like, I'd be scared because you're too cool for me. And now you're equal cool. Is there anything you'd like to
before joining Rush, I had, some experience with the robotics stuff, but it really just exposed me to a lot of different opportunities. So with the new drone ventures that we made this year, which was another accomplishment, we won the Drone World Championship. But Team Rush really allowed me to experience more opportunities, and it encouraged me to try some things that I wasn't always super excited to try. But getting into things like drones or mentoring some of these summer camps has really taught me a lot of valuable lessons.
Great.
I initially started with seeing robotics as nerdy as well, but I went from soccer to robotics, so the cool kids to the not as cool kids. But honestly, it's been amazing for me. I couldn't talk to adults. I couldn't talk to anybody before. I basically lived at home, and getting to robotics, I've been able to get out and get opportunities that I've never been able to get, and it's really inspiring.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
And I know that Allison didn't really put this in perspective, but the two of them could not speak in front of the team. And so for them to have a microphone in their hands today, she's a lot cooler than she was. Actually, I want to say that. But she has an opportunity now that she's not afraid anymore, which I think is the confidence that you get when you're with a team of like-minded people and people that believe in you. And that's what we do. Thank you.
Absolutely. Anything else?
I would just like
Close. I know this one.
I would just like to say that I think the mentoring opportunities these students get is one of the most unique elements of the Team Rush program. To see these kids when they start compared to when they end, this is not just about robotics. This is about life. This is about skills that you just can't teach out of a textbook. And these are skills that are going to carry them through the rest of their career path and their professional life. And I will tell you also, this year's competition for Houston, I don't know the parent who put the link out there on Facebook. Is she out here?
Sarah, can you please raise your hand?
I kept on.
That's our Facebook.
I want you to know that I put that link on my second computer at my workstation, and anybody who walked by stood there for 15 minutes watching competition all day long. So I streamed it for the entire 8 hours I was at the office, and people just loved it. So I can't thank you enough for what you bring to this program for our students, and I just hope that you parents understand the benefits of what your children get from this program, and hope that you can share this good word to your other friends of parents, that while this program may seem to be difficult for the students, it is something that they will enrich their lives forever.
Thank you. I did forget one little 27 number, and that was today in looking up our scholarships, we are at $1.27 million in scholarships for our robotics kids as well. So.
Fantastic.
So, if you don't have any further questions, I would like all of my robotics students to go out in the hallway, and we're going to get a giant picture of all the teams. Thank you.
Great.
Can we have a round of applause for Kyle? This past weekend was her birthday, and you'll never believe it, but she's 27.
She's 27! Okay, so if you just participated in the parade, please join Mrs. Hughes out in the foyer out there for a giant robotics photo. And thank you for coming and sharing that with us. And we will keep marching ahead. So 5.2 is recognition of our Destination Imagination teams. And we will have Samantha Morrison. Can't tell who's coming and who's going. It's a lot of traffic this evening. Come on down, DI. Good evening, friends.
Hi. I'm Samantha Morrison. I am the coach of the middle school Destination Imagination team, Santa's Helpers. And one of the values of Destination Imagination is there is no parent or teacher interference. The kids have to do everything themselves, so they have prepared something to say to you.
Hello, Board of Education. Thank you for inviting us here today. We are so happy to be here and to share with you how you helped us get to Kansas City, Missouri Global Finals for Destination Imagination.
We are a team of sixth grade students that are competing in a STEAM-based program, and we won first place in the Michigan State Tournament for our Service Learning Challenge this year.
In the Service Learning Challenge, we helped raise gently used snow gear and classroom books for North Shashabaw Elementary, our previous elementary school.
The challenge required us to create an 8-minute skit about a high-stakes situation and include a slow-motion scene using a technical element in structural engineering.
Throughout our year in DI, we've learned many skills we have not known before. For example, we learned how to sew costumes, budget, problem solve, and work as a team.
We are excited to leave for Global Finals next week and represent Clarkston on the global stage.
And then Mrs. Dargay couldn't make it today, but this is her team, the TikTokers, and they are also a middle-level team, and they just won the Michigan State competition as well for the Fine Arts Challenge. Do you have any questions for either team?
Well, I will say that I have some experience with this team. I just by happenstance got to come see you last year at Global Finals because I was in the neighborhood, so to speak. And so I feel like I'm your #1 fan. And I got to see you compete, both of your teams, at the state finals. And you were both so impressive. And so I just wish you all the luck in the world. I'm sorry I can't go to Kansas City this year. I'm sorry, but on behalf of my colleagues here at the board, we will be cheering you on next week, both of you, and expect great things from you. I mean, your skits were tremendous, and I know you were going to represent Clarkston and Michigan so well. So we're just so proud of all of you. So go get them.
Thank you.
I love this meeting so far. This is good stuff. Okay, item 5.3, recognition of our 2023 Clarkston High School senior scholars. And we will call our Clarkston High School principal, Mr. Gary Call, up to the microphone.
Thank you, the Board of Education, for allowing us another venue for which to showcase our senior scholars this year. A little background on our senior scholars. We have 25 seniors each year that are designated senior scholars. Basically, their designation comes from their grade point average, but because we grade on a 5.0 scale, we have a 5-point scale for some of our more rigorous courses that students can engage in. You can have a pretty high grade point average. These guys all have pretty high grade point averages. But not only that, they're leaders amongst their peers at school. They're model students. They have tons of activities, extracurriculars, experience outside, volunteer hours. They're just wonderful students. And I would say there's a lot of smart kids at Clarkston High School. These guys separate themselves based off some of the things that Dr. Ryan was talking about, their resilience, their work ethic, their stick-to-itiveness. So we're very proud to recognize them here this evening. We haven't planned this, so what we're going to do, senior scholars, is as I call your name in alpha order, we'd like you to walk up on stage and shake the hands of the board members and then stand from flower pot to flower pot, all right? It's going to be a beautiful picture. Get your phones ready.
Okay.
First up tonight, we have Megan Brennicky. Next is Cameron Broski. We have Griffin Carter. We have Catherine Haar. We have Kayla Haddad. We have Reagan Hakala. McKenna Hempton. Michaela Holbein. Lauren Isaac.
No, I should have looked up.
Annabelle Keller. Clara Kosiba.
Mommy made you do a good job. Yeah.
Annalise Lemieux. Clara, how'd your match go?
Yeah, how'd the match go?
Annalise, how'd the match go?
Did you win? Yes.
She won. She won. Anna Marinick. Samantha Miller. Samantha Piscatelli. Isaac Rucker. Phoebe Savoy. Amanda Scott. Hayden Simmons. Abigail Simon. Catherine Spear. Leah Stump. Kira Tomey. Isabel Whitehurst. And Rebecca Wilson. Ladies and gentlemen, Clarkston Community, we are proud of these top 25 senior scholars for the class of 2023.
And our final presentation item tonight is our Clarkston Junior High project-based learning presentation, and we will welcome Mr. Dan Clayson. And Miss Nancy Mahoney. Look at them all rushing home to study. Look at that. Good job, senior scholars. Finish strong.
No. So good evening, Board of Education. We're just super excited to celebrate project-based learning. It has become so vibrant and incredible at the junior high, and I invited a team to come and to celebrate the learning, the engagement, and what project-based looks like at Clarkston Junior High. So welcome, Dan Clayson. Welcome your students, and we're really, really happy to celebrate you tonight.
Hi, I'd first like to just say thank you so much for having us tonight. It's a wonderful celebration of all the great things that are happening at Clarkston, and I'm really proud to be a part of that. For those of you that don't know, I joined Clarkston Community Schools about 1.5 years ago, and I had the fantastic opportunity to join the project-based learning class. I've been teaching for about 10 years, and I've always focused on projects, but what we do in project-based learning is something that I've never seen, and I've taught in 3 different states, in 5 different districts. So I've never seen the kind of work that we do in Clarkston anywhere else across the country that I've taught. And I'm really proud to be here tonight to have some of our students who we believe are really the pride of our program. For as much work as we put in planning on what a project can be, it really doesn't mean much unless our students come out and knock it out of the park, which they do every single time we have one. So we wanted to share first just some of the projects that we've been doing in the last year or so. We've really been putting an effort in expanding our program. We've gotten to see projects from Pine Knob Elementary this year. This is a really great project where they did Who is Pine Knob Elementary, where they put together a book for all the incoming elementary students of names and faces, teachers, custodial workers, things like that for new students where they can kind of share with them, kind of familiar faces around the building. The Clarkston Service Dogs Doghouse Project is one of the coolest projects we've gotten to see this year. So as you guys know, Clarkston had that great grant where we got some great service dogs, and these 6th graders in math class put together programs where they designed dog houses and then actually got to build them and got to go through the process of designing, making, and then voting on which ones they thought should be built for our school projects. So it's been really great to see the program continue to grow and expand past the junior high. And what I wanted to do is actually have you guys have, and then this is a great project too. Our 3rd grade Early Michigan History group put together an Indigenous Peoples cookbook this year when they were studying Michigan Native American history. And so there's a lot of great ways where kids can interact with projects and learn the skills that we need them to learn as well. But I wanted to have our students share kind of what they think about our program. So I have here with us 2 8th graders and a 9th grade. I'll have them introduce themselves, and they'll just kind of talk to you about what they like about our program, because again, they're the pride of our program. So if you can give it up, we'll start with Mia. All right.
Hi, I'm Mia Tolgachir. When I first joined 8th grade PBL, I didn't know what to expect, but now that I'm in this class, I realize that this class is more than just ELA and history. It's also leadership skills. PBL is mostly hands-on, not just sitting in a class and listening. We are actually doing this stuff and experiencing it. And for me and other people, we agree that you learn stuff better by doing it than just listening. I look forward to going to PBL every day, and I can't wait to do it next year. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Haley Durkaz, and I'm also a part of the 8th grade PBL. I've learned a lot from PBL this year. Not just language arts and history, but I've also learned better socialization skills and leadership skills. I had the chance to make new friends and learn a lot of new kids that prefer more hands-on learning like me. PBL is also very fun and a way to learn that is definitely better than sitting in a classroom and listening to a teacher talk. PBL helps kids understand the information better using hands-on learning projects and activities. PBL is probably one of my favorite classes because it makes learning more enjoyable and the hands-on tasks are better for my learning. Thank you for having me come out and talk to you about PBL.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kyla. I'm a 9th grader at the Clarkston Junior High. When I first joined PBL, I joined PBL in 8th grade. So I had a few friends tell me that it was a really fun way to learn. I kind of don't really learn as like the normal kind of teaching way is. I tend to work and learn better when I am working with people and when I get to work in projects. I love making projects and kind of researching and learning as much as I can about the information that I need. That way, instead of just knowing what my teachers tell me to know, I know way more than I'm supposed to know. Kind of the expectation when people first tell you about PBL is like, oh, it's just a class full of projects, but it's way more than that. You learn so much more when you're learning with your friends, and it's not just projects. It's projects with your friends and learning a bunch of different things. I've learned way more than just ELA and history. I've learned how to work with people. I've learned how to have responsibility for myself and also kind of responsibility for others. And I've also learned many different leadership skills. The different projects that we have done this year are amazing. This year we got to teach 4th graders, which was so much fun. We also within that project, we got to have our own published book, which is amazing. And our current project actually is we are making a historic theme park. So there's specific teams, and every team has a different decade. And if you guys look in your emails, you guys can come along and come look at our projects.
Great, thank you.
So we just wanted to take a moment to say thank you to you for letting this happen in our district. As you heard from all of our 3 students, the skills that they're learning in our classroom go beyond just history or ELA. They're learning problem-solving skills. They're learning how to work together as a team. And to be honest, they are, all 3 of them, exemplary students, and we've gotten to see them just knock every single thing that they've attempted out of the park, and we love to see that. So thank you guys so much for making that possible, and thank you guys for making Clarkston a great place to be. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Did you have something? Mrs. Crane?
Yes, I think all of you guys know that I'm a big fan of any of these classes like construction tech, PBL, any of them that, it's okay, Mr. Clayson, you can just yell if you need to. No, it's fine. So my son is in 8th grade PBL, and it is by far the class that he comes home about every day talking about. You know, that we have these jokes that you can't get your kids to tell you what they've been doing that day. He always wants to talk about what he's doing in project-based learning. And he does love Mr. Clayson. He does very much. But I've been able to go to the showcases and seen these projects that these kids put on, and what I'm always amazed at is these 13, 14-year-olds who take such pride in what they've put together and the speeches they've prepared, and I've just been blown away by every single one that I've been to. So I look forward to going to as many as I can. I do wish that we carried this into our high school. That is my one thing. I really wish we could do the same thing for 10, 11, and 12. So.
Thank you. You know, I was thinking the same thing when I've gone to these. What's impressed me most is how, how eloquent, how capable our students are of talking about their projects. The World War II Museum was one that I got to attend this year, and every sort of vignette that I visited, the students they could just carry on these conversations in depth about what they learned and how they crafted their project and how they thought about it and why they represented it in the way they did. I mean, they were all eager to share. So it was a great morning of learning for me as well. I was just absolutely fascinated by it. They did a tremendous job. Any other comments from the board? Thank you, and thank you, students, for being here tonight. Thank you, Mr. Clarkston. Congratulations on the work that you're doing. All right, we'll move on to our list of action items, and we will continue with the celebration that we have going on tonight. We'll start with 6.1, approval of teacher tenure. Mr. John Lucido.
Good evening. As Dr. Ryan stated earlier, we have the privilege of recognizing a number of teachers who've achieved tenure with Clarkston Community Schools. I'm going to call their names. I'm going to ask that you come up. Teresa has a certificate for you, and just like the seniors, we'd ask that you line up to take the tenure oath. And our first recipient is Kristen Blond, North Sash Elementary. Jillian Conrad, Renaissance High School. Kristen Deaton, Pine Knob Elementary. Brittany Doyle, Sashabaw Middle School. Erica Fern, Pine Knob Elementary. Stephanie Honey, Andersonville Elementary. Christina Hoover, North Sashabaw Elementary. Doug Kennedy, Renaissance High School. Brian Luba, Andersonville Elementary. Elise Rosengren, Clarkston High School. Megan Sack, Independence Elementary. Curtis Stirk, North Sashabaw Elementary. And Doug Thompson, Springfield Plains Elementary. And Melissa Chamberlain, Springfield Plains Elementary.
All right, we'll let Ms. Allen do her photos, and then we'll do the official business. Okay. Well, we didn't plan this part, teachers, but I'm going to ask you to turn around and face me for a minute. Face me and the board.
Just don't step back.
Don't step back. No one step back. So before we read the official, the oath and all the business that I have to read that the state provides, I just wanted to, although I can't see you because the lights are bright, but there we go. I just wanted to say a few words on behalf of the board, right? And I think you said this earlier. It's not easy to be a teacher, certainly in this day and age, but what you do is noble and what you do is important. And just by the fact that you're standing here says that you do it really, really well, and that we're happy that you're here in Clarkston and that we want you to stay in Clarkston. And I think even more important, it's one thing to have graduated in a teacher prep program and to have gotten a job and to have had some success at it and decided that you love the profession and that you love kids. And I mean, that's sort of like, that's what we want, right, at a certain level. But I think in Clarkston, we have even higher standards than that. We have some very specific values and some very specific things that we want out of teachers. And we want the best. We want the best teachers we can find. And that's what we have standing here in front of us. And that's why we're granting you tenure tonight. We want teachers who believe in our mission, who believe that students and the environment we need to provide, that for students to be challenged and healthy and engaged and safe and supported. And we want teachers who buy into that mission. And we want teachers who buy into the vision. We think our vision is really special and it's really important, and everyone at this table, all 8 of us, believe in that vision very, very strongly. And so we don't want anyone in our classrooms that doesn't buy into that vision, that doesn't want students, when they leave Clarkston, to be well prepared for a future that excites them. We want those students to believe they can achieve their dreams. And I tell our new parents, our new baby parents, when they're sending their little baby kindergartners to us, that achieving that vision starts the day they set foot in our schools. So you are responsible for a big part of that vision the minute a student steps foot on our campuses. So before I read the gobbledygook that the state sends me, right, that's a little more formal, I just wanted you to know how important it is that you're standing here to all of us and what an important role you play in the life and the success of Clarkston Community Schools. And so when you leave here tonight and you show up at school tomorrow, know how grateful we are and how important it is that you're here. Okay, now we'll do the official business. Now comes the lecture part of now I get to be the teacher for a moment. Our society has charged public education with trust and responsibility that requires of professional educators the highest ideals and quality service. The Michigan State Board of Education has adopted the following code of ethics to articulate the ethical standards to which professional educators are expected to adhere in their job performance. 1, service toward common good. The professional educator's primary goal is to support the growth and development of all learners for the purpose of creating and sustaining an informed citizenry in a democratic society. 2, mutual respect. Professional educators respect the inherent dignity and worth of each individual. 3, equity. Professional educators advocate the practice of equity. The professional educator advocates for equal access to educational opportunities for each individual. 4, diversity. Professional educators promote cross-cultural awareness by honoring and valuing individual differences and supporting the strengths of all individuals to ensure that instruction reflects the realities and diversity of the world. 5, truth and honesty. Professional educators uphold personal and professional integrity and behave in a trustworthy manner. They adhere to acceptable social practices, current state law, state and national student assessment guidelines, and exercise sound professional judgment. I am asking our teachers to reaffirm their commitment to the oath of the office of teacher. Please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly affirm that I will support the Constitution of the United States of America and the Constitution of the State of Michigan. And I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of teacher according to the best of my ability. Congratulations. We're so grateful you're here in Clarkston Community Schools. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay, well, stay here. I forgot an important piece of business.
I move the Board of Education grant tenure to these teachers as presented.
I think I was supposed to do that before I went on my speech. I got excited.
I'd just like to say it's a lot of pressure with all of you standing right in front of us while we take this vote.
Glare at him for a minute. Glare at him really hard. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I have to say that. Okay, the motion carries. Congratulations. I know, we sort of forgot the handshake. Okay, we can sort of do this in front of us. Congratulations, everybody. Ms. Allen got what you needed? We're almost in. Okay. Congratulations. You're very welcome.
Thank you. Either way.
I always forget one important procedural thing. It's sort of my deal. It's a lot of pressure.
Thank you. Good job.
Congratulations. Okay. What's everyone going to do when I don't forget a procedural motion?
Madam President?
Ms. McGinnis?
I'd just like to say I've been at teacher tenure in other districts. In fact, I've had to remind other districts to honor their teachers. No one does it like Clarkston does. That's because we honor our teachers, and we want the best teachers for our students, and we need to show them every single day how much you're appreciated. And I want you to know from every single one of us, we appreciate you, and we thank you for teaching in Clarkston.
Thank you, Ms. McGinnis. Okay, I won't forget any more motions, I promise. Okay, item 6.2 is approval of personnel changes. May I have a motion, please?
I move the Board of Education approve the personnel changes as listed on the attached sheets as presented.
Support.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 3 is approval of curriculum adoptions and course and resource studies. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the new courses and resource materials as presented for a total of $250,266.40.
Support.
And I will say, as one of the board members on, did you want to say something first, Ms. Mahoney?
I can say after. Go ahead.
She stands ready. Okay. I say, so 2 board members, Mr. Heyer and myself, are representatives to the Teaching and Learning Council. So we participate in this process throughout the course of the year. And so we have been part and parcel to the process that has brought all of these proposals to you for all of this. And I have read also the 2 novels that are before you today, enjoyed them both quite a bit, and don't remember any kind of contemporary fiction as being part of my high school experience. I remember The Grapes of Wrath and, you know, things that weren't nearly as enjoyable to read. So I was also really excited to know that we're bringing 2 new advanced courses to bear, an honors course, a new AP course, new resources in biology that hadn't been updated in 15 years, and 16 years, and then realigning all of our languages, you know, with an emphasis on, you know, on fluency, on proficiency. I know Mr. Bialis worked really, really hard on all of that. So I think the board can rest assured that the process was followed very extensively, and Mr. Heyer and I were both, you know, present for all of that. So.
And the Read 180 is, you know, a special education literacy program to really target, I think, a curriculum that really supports our struggling readers with an IEP at the secondary level. So very excited to have that as well.
Yeah.
I did want to speak to our Teaching and Learning Council. So this is a new endeavor, and I'm super excited for looking at next year's Teaching and Learning Council. We are looking for 3 parents to serve on our council, and we had an incredible turnout recently of parents interested in serving. We've never experienced this before. We had 80 parents show interest to serve on our Teaching and Learning Council. The TLC description in our teacher contract prioritizes a balanced representation of buildings, grade levels, and subject areas, and we're asking for a 3-year commitment when parents serve on our Teaching and Learning Council. There are 5 parent seats, and 3 are currently vacated. So the 2 remaining members represent the junior high and the high school. And so therefore, in an effort to keep the balance, we're asking and looking for representation from the middle school and 2 from the elementaries. When the 2 remaining parents exit or finish their term next year, the district will then look for representation from the junior high and the high school. So we're looking forward to everyone's response. I just put out a questionnaire to all 80 today, and our second round interviews will then continue after that, and I'm looking forward for a new council for the 23-24 school year. Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments regarding?
I have a question.
Yes, Ms. Love.
Can you just expand on, so you're saying that you do have a high school and a junior high representative. Can you just, in regards to the email sent out today, just kind of explain why it wasn't expressed from the beginning that you weren't seeking those parents from those?
Yes, and this is a new process in terms of putting this many, I think, parents that are interested in serving on teaching and learning. So I didn't know how many would be responding, and so when we received 80, and I think I had 45 in the first hour of putting out the email. So this is an incredible response and super excited, and so in looking at that, if I had 3 responses only, I would have asked all of them regardless of, I think, the building that they represented. So in looking at the balance and going back to the teacher contract, I'm just holding true to that language, and it allows us to, I think, I guess, fairness when we look at the Teaching and Learning Council. And so, like I said, in just 1 more year, we'll look for junior high and high school representation.
Okay, and is it true that this, it's in the union contract that it has to be a balanced?
It does say to really seek to balance those buildings, grade levels, and for teacher subject areas as well.
Okay, and yeah, I just want to kind of reiterate, like, that you're bringing this transparency to this board. I think it's a really, really important committee, underrated committee, and I'm so impressed as a CCS parent that we had such a high level of interest and involvement, 80 people willing to give that 3-year commitment. And I firmly believe that parent involvement is so paramount to the success of our district, and I'm just so honored to live in a community where these parents are willing to do it. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, board.
Any other comments or questions on the proposals that are in front of you? Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 6.4 is approval of the purchase of handheld radios. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education authorizes the administration to execute a contract to Mobile Communications America, MCA, in the amount of $120,666 as presented.
Support.
Are there any questions or comments from the board? And I'm catching up here in my paperwork.
I actually had a question. This
Yes.
was out of the safety, is this something we're paying for out of that safety budget from the state?
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Goodman,
this
go
will be
ahead.
funded from the safety grant.
Do we know how much is going to be left roughly? Do you happen to know how much is going to be left after this and the bus cameras of that grant?
I'm going to just guess around 500,000.
Okay, cool. Thank
Okay.
you.
Do these radios like have a cell communication component, or they just communicate peer-to-peer?
Peer-to-peer, but they do have a great distance. We can talk, we've from this building to Sashabaw Middle School, feels like it's really clear. We've even picked up at Andersonville at times, so they definitely have a good range.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 6.5 is approval of Clarkston High School HVAC repairs.
I move the Board of Education approve the repairs and service at Clarkston High School to Conti LLC in the amount of $102,800 as presented.
Support.
Any comments or questions from the board? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 6.6 is approval of the 2023 tax rate request. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the 2023 tax rate request as presented.
Support.
And these are the same numbers that Mrs. Rogers went over in our hearing, both our non-homestead and our debt. So no questions prior, any questions now? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. Item 6.7 is approval of renewal of the food service management contract with Chartwell. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education approves the food service management contract with Chartwells for the 2023-24 school year as presented.
Support.
Any questions? I would just say a thank you to Chartwells again for, I know the dinner and the experience this year in our high school cafeteria is something annually they do as part of this agreement, but I thought it was great fun to have a meal like our high school students, and I really enjoyed the Global Eats portion of that, and I enjoyed hearing how much our high school students are really taking advantage of that. And I know we are one of the pilot schools for that, but I'm glad to hear that there's a chance that that could really be expanding. So, I mean, my high school meals generally consisted of a square piece of pizza and a giant greasy chocolate chip cookie. So this is, they've come a long way. Nutrition's come a long way, and I think our students, their palates have come a long way too.
You eat cookies?
We had giant cookies in our schools. That was pretty much it. You didn't get cookies?
No.
In Clarkston High School?
That's because he was here.
I was in Texas. I don't know if that matters, but yeah, square pizza and chocolate chip cookies. Not very healthy. Not very healthy. But thank you. Thank you, Mr. Severson, for letting us experience a little bit of that tonight. Any other comments or questions from the board? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 6.8 is approval of the resolution to support or disapprove the 2023-24 Oakland Schools budget. May I have a motion, please?
I move that the Board of Education, or move that Clarkston Community Schools Board of Education approve the attached resolution to approve the Oakland Schools 2023 General Fund operating budget as submitted.
Support.
Technically, the motion says approve or disapprove.
Correct, and I said approve.
Oh, do we have to choose one?
Yes. Yes. I did not say
Approve the
disapprove.
resolution to approve? Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, any questions or discussion?
Are we approving, aren't we like supporting the budget? It's not really approving it, is it?
It is kind of a support. Yeah, I don't know that I like that. I mean,
We've always approved.
I think we're supporting the budget.
Well, if all 28 districts said no, or a majority said no, they'd have to go back to the drawing board. If you recall, a couple years ago, in the height of finances being difficult, they had a across-the-board pay increase for their staff that was not received very well. And when I spoke to my representative at Oakland Schools, or the person I usually go to, I let him know that we were not happy with that, and ultimately, they did go back to the drawing board and represent a new budget, because they knew that the majority of districts were not going to approve it.
I'm just saying in this, now therefore it be resolved that number one, the bottom line says, expresses its support for the proposed budget. That's
Yeah.
all I'm saying. We're supporting it. We're not approving it.
right, I would agree with that. I mean, the
Okay.
second page says support. So we are approving the resolution to support or
Correct.
disapprove the Oakland Schools budget.
Support or not support, then?
Yes.
Support or disapprove. I mean, that's the language that the resolutions say.
I just want to support and not approve,
Well, I
because
want
it's not our
to,
budget.
I'm just generally curious, why, as Clarkston, why would we support this budget? I don't see a lot of benefit to our students from it. The only thing I see is the career and technical areas. That is one benefit to us, but that's less than $50 million in this budget. We're spending $80,000 on staff. I mean, this just seems like a bureaucratic nightmare. I don't know why we would support this budget. There's planning to spend more than the revenue that they're bringing in. I think we should advocate for more benefits to Clarkston kids, because I don't see any right now. And this $400 and some million, why are we approving it when we can't even find much to even use out of it? I mean, the whole point of an ISD is to support these, their 28 schools, and they're really not supporting Clarkston right now. So I just legitimately want to hear from you guys why you're supporting this budget so wholeheartedly.
Let me back up 1 second and just make sure we've got our motion correct, and then we'll get to your question, which I think is an important one that we're going to let you answer, and you answer. But, so can we be clear on the motion, right? Since I've already,
Do we need a friendly amendment?
Friendly amendment. I would
Okay.
accept a friendly amendment to the word support.
So we're approving the resolution to support.
to support or disapprove?
No, just to support.
Just to support. Okay, so friendly amendment to support.
I would like to object.
Only the maker of
I'd
the
rather
amendment
move to
can do that.
disapprove of it.
You can move to amend once we deal with the actual motion. So the motion now reads, if Mrs. McGinnis and Mrs. Egan agree, which I think they have, correct? So the motion now reads that the Board of Education
Supports.
approves the resolution to support the Oakland Schools budget.
I mean, you have to have a motion on the table to
Right.
even discuss it.
So
Correct.
that's the motion that we're
Yes.
clear, everybody in agreement, that's what we have on the table.
That's the motion on the table.
Okay, so now,
Who seconded it?
Mrs. Egan. So just procedurally, you had asked a question. The chair could choose to answer the question, or you could make another amendment motion at this point. At your pleasure.
Or we could ask our finance director or superintendent to provide some more clarification to the question also.
Yeah.
At the call of the chair, but anybody at this point could make another amendment motion, just as a point of order.
Okay. Well, what she asks is sort of, what Ms. Love is asking is kind of a big picture philosophical question, right? About the relationship, I think, really between the district and the ISD. So I would like to give,
Can I provide a little historical context, and maybe Mrs. Egan can jump in with some specifics on this particular budget? That would be okay with you?
is that okay? Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So back when the Oakland ISD did some things that the state legislature didn't like, and they increased ISD oversight, one of the things that they introduced was this process of a local district looking at this budget, looking at the ISD budget, and passing this resolution of support or disapproval or lack of support. And I think it's ridiculous that that's the case, because we vote for board members at the ISD that it's their job to adopt a budget and provide oversight and do all those kinds of things. Like, it's certainly not our job as local board members to oversee the ISD's budget.
Well, it should, because they're supposed to be helping us, so.
That's not necessarily a budget-driven kind of thing. Like, certainly we want to make sure we're getting the services that we want, but part of the way the ISD works is a lot of that money and services are flow-through. So our special education funding from the county millage flows all the way through the ISD, to us. A lot of other grants and reading support coaches and all those kinds of things all come through the ISD. So this historically was put in place to encourage locals to look more at their ISDs. And I would say, like, across the state, there are ISDs that provide a lot of services. There are ISDs that do hardly anything, and they're all different. And, in Oakland County, we have the way we do it, and that is not the way every county does it. And so if Mrs. Egan wants to speak to this specific budget and what's included or not included.
Well, I see about 41% goes to the individual districts, whereas in Macomb, it's upwards of 70%. I mean, I don't understand why we're supporting this budget. I really don't.
So there are some programs that are funded that do stay at, the funding does stay at the ISD level. The STEMI, which is a semi-truck, which is a traveling semi-truck that is full of different STEM opportunities for students to explore. I think it came to Clarkston in May of last year. I don't know when it's scheduled for this year, but that is a traveling program that any school district in the ISD, 28 districts are certainly eligible to have that opportunity come to their district. We have 4 tech CTE type campuses, Northwest Campus in our background, in our backyard here in Clarkston. We have, I would guess, close to 100 students from Clarkston that participate in that campus. There are also students from Brandon and Holly. So we have a northwest, northeast, southwest, southeast campus. It's just a quadrant, but that is a large area of support that provides programming for our students as well. And I think, Dr. Ryan, if there's anything else that, Mr. Heyer alluded to some of the special ed and grant programming that comes through the budget directly to us. But if there's anything else that you want to add to that comes to mind that we get from the ISD budget.
I think that's kind of the high points, mainly on the technical and CTE support and flow through money. Having the Northwest campuses for our students to be able to attend kind of augments and adds some additional flavor opportunities for Clarkston students. The additional part is, as Mr. Heyer was saying, philosophically, ISDs either are flow-throughs, which in the terms of special ed, we get direct dollars that go right through the ISD to us. Same thing, they earmark and monitor our CTE money, which we get a certain portion. And honestly, I've always had kind of a love-hate relationship. I've had a dubious, interesting relationship in terms of my involvement in looking at our ISD in Oakland County. And I think it comes down to, as a superintendent, I always want maximum resources right to Clarkston, but I let this group and us be able to do that. Now, the reality of the situation is that's not how the system is set up in the state of Michigan. So the two different models of being one more of a flow-through model, or one, I know my wife works in a district up in Flint area, and the Genesee ISD is extraordinarily high in services. So they give very little money if you look at the actual goes to the individual schools, but they have many district employees who are also cross-badged as county employees. They work for Genesee County ISD, plus they work for, they're assigned to individual school districts. So I think, it's obviously evolved over the last couple decades in terms of how that support looks, and I think in some areas Clarkston wins, and I feel that it's a nice part to have. In other areas, I look at it, I would rather have, more of that direct funding to Clarkston. So is it perfect? I would say no. Is it typical back and forth? I would actually be more resistant to them providing their individual employees coming to Clarkston. I would very much be, I want to say, less than comfortable with that. So it's sort of a hybrid in Oakland County. It kind of is what it is. And I think it's very curious and unusual that we're reviewing these type of budgets to provide feedback. I think from Ms. McGinnis's view of being able to provide specific feedback within certain areas to have them changed is excellent. It's just as a superintendent, I always feel like I want to be heard more, and it's always kind of again, back and forth. And I don't know how our board members had the opportunity to work directly with Oakland Schools can feel. I don't have a negative, direct out there, but it's just, I think it's a collaboration and a partnership, and it's an established system that we have to kind of work within.
And Dr. Ryan, I would add on to that as a board, we could direct you to say, hey, can you maximize our resources out of Oakland Schools? And that would take a slice of your time away from all the other things that you are now focused on here at home, increasing student achievement and getting every student the resources they need. And so as a board, we've chosen not to do that. It's sort of not a battle that we want to put effort and fight into at this point, really. And again, I would agree with your assessment. Certainly it could be better, and there are things in a county where there's a lot of hold harmless districts. A lot of times things tend to benefit some of the hold harmless districts, and some of the lower funded districts don't get some of that benefit. And sure, if I could wave a wand and change that, I would change it. And I think we've tried to push accordingly along there. I think it's ridiculous that we have to even act on this motion altogether, but I certainly am not interested in diving into their ISD budget. If I did, I would run for the ISD board.
And I think of them as providing, kind of umbrella topics that are, and services and programs that are of interest to a majority of the districts within the county, and then we're able to access what we want rather than going to them and saying, we want more money specifically for Clarkston, or because if everyone were to do that, I just don't know how that would work, because that would come with oversight. That would come with a bit of intrusion, I think, into our business, which is, I think, what you're getting to, and maybe I'm saying it a little more directly, but.
There is an intrusion, and if you look at oversight, the county also provides auditing services for pupil accounting, so when you talk about the state in terms of monitoring it, per pupil funding and how Clarkston receives its appropriations. The county is tied to it. If you look at a lot of different areas, for us to get our full CTE money, boom, that's where the county comes in. If you're looking at special ed, they monitor our special ed rates. So in one part, again, as I'm speaking this publicly to the ISD, they also provide a layer of regulatory, and they do that for every county, whether how they do their flow through. It is a function that the state of Michigan does not carry out itself. Now, does the MDE, Michigan Department of Education, have a pupil accounting department? Absolutely. But it's kind of, think of it more of, same as special ed, kind of more of a skeleton base that basically then provides manuals and technical support to all the county agencies, which then they exert their control, their influence, or their oversight over the LEAs, being Clarkston and all the other individual school districts. So you got one part flow through, one part regulatory, and then there's, like, as you'd heard, variance in levels of direct, indirect support.
I just think it could be, I'm not saying there's zero benefits to it, but the relation of how much money we're spending on, it's just such a top-heavy budget. I mean, the staff is just growing exponentially. The student enrollment in Oakland County has gone down by, what, 5% over the last couple decades. The administrative budget has gone up over 100%. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying we have to, have Sean spend time sitting here advocating, but I mean, I think at very least what we could do is vote no to approve this astronomical, bureaucracy that they're creating. They're going from $68 million to $80 million in staff in 1 year. We can at least vote no, and yeah, it's not going to change overnight, but it's the very least we could do to advocate for kids in Clarkston.
Madam President,
Ms. McGinnis.
I would suspect that some of the money is from the American Rescue Act. It is one-time money in that budget. Mary Beth, could you qualify any of that for us? Do you know if there's any one-time money at the county?
Being that was one of the questions that came up from the board to me, I did reach out to the Assistant Superintendent or Deputy Superintendent Oakland County, Mr. Ken Gutman, and I asked him point blank, there were some concerns or interest in understanding better some of the, as far as the deficit spending for the Oakland ISD, and his response to me was that it was 100% tied up in his estimation, and he confirmed with the Oakland County ISD CFO that it was related to one-time COVID money that was received in one fiscal year that they had several years to spend, and that they wanted to be able to focus on what they thought the biggest impact programs were. Again, I'm giving his answer, I'm saying this publicly from what he told me, and to be able to also spend down their fund balance in a way that they felt supported an individual school districts around Oakland County, period. So that's the response that I received.
And so that's usually what happens when you see a budget so lopsided from the prior year to the current year. It's usually a fund balance spend down, and in this case, maybe not only a fund balance spend down, but a Rescue Act money that needs to be spent during the time frame that it's supposed to be spent in. So while I don't have the budget in front of me and don't have that detail, I speculate that a good majority of that 60, I'm going to be average here, 60 to 80,000 or difference is that kind of money. So I don't think that their budget in a general year increases that kind of difference unless it's done purposefully.
But we all know once you create a position, they're not going to eliminate it. So I don't think it's just going to go down next year. I think it's going to remain at 80, it'll probably go up. Even if it doesn't go up 12 million, it's still going to go up. It's just out of control, guys. Come on.
Well, I know that there's some speculation that some people could be coming on board to take over retirement time for other people. So maybe some of our time could be spent also communicating not only to the current leadership at Oakland Schools, but should that leadership change in the near future or even before next year, that we continue to share with them how we would like to see more benefit out of the budget. I think that serves us well, because we can choose not to send any of our kids to the tech center, and then we don't get any benefit of the money that's already being spent, that's received for all the schools. So some of the funds of what is there to be used at Oakland Schools is based on our use of that money. So we have a benefit directly by using it, and if we feel that our students are better served in our own building, then we don't necessarily are going to choose to use those funds. So I think it's a little bit of a lot of things, and I'm not saying that your comments aren't well-sounded in your thought process, but I think that saying no to the budget doesn't serve any kind of purpose for one district, because it's not likely that a majority of districts are going to turn down this budget. But we're welcome to turn it down.
That's a defeatist attitude. I mean, so if not all of them turn it down, that doesn't mean we shouldn't, just because other people aren't going to.
I plan to support the support of the approval of the resolution that supports the budget, because if we disapprove of the budget, resolution reads that we're going to direct the superintendent to send specific objections and propose changes, and I'm not willing to take that effort away from the kids here in Clarkston.
Real quick, you mentioned they're not adding any new positions in this budget. It says it right in the budget assumptions. There's no new positions. That's the only thing I.
Individual's already there.
That was last year.
Yeah.
From 22 fiscal year to 23 fiscal year.
Says
But
there
for
are no
20
new
Yes, you're right.
positions.
You're absolutely right.
Can
To
take-
23 to 24, which we are approving next year's 24, there is no additional. The salary increase that you see in this is from 22 to 23 fiscal year. Just for clarification.
But she was saying that they're adding positions, and for the 23-24 budget, they are not adding any new positions.
That's correct. You and I are
just
saying
wanted
the
to
same
clarify
thing.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Rogers.
Yes.
And I would agree with Mr. Heyer, when I disapprove of something, I like to have some idea of what I want in place. So I don't have any ideas that are concrete enough to ask Dr. Ryan to communicate on our behalf, or at least my behalf as a board member, what I dislike and what I'd rather see them do instead. But I'm not saying this can't be a work in progress.
Other comments or discussion from this end? All right. Are we ready to vote? All right, Mrs. McLean, I need a roll call vote, please.
Mr. Heyer.
Yes.
Mr. Mead.
Yes.
Mrs. Crane.
Yes.
Mrs. Love.
No.
Mrs. McGinnis.
Yes.
Mrs. Egan.
Yes.
Mrs. Horton.
Yes. So the motion carries. Item 7 is report items. We have none. Item 8 is discussion items. We have none tonight. Item 9 is citizen comments. Citizens are welcome to address the board on any topic at this point on the agenda. Thank you, Mrs. McLean. All right, we only have one citizen tonight, Mr. Parkin. Our microphone is up here this evening.
When I walked in, I thought it was going to be my oratory jubilee, but
Sorry, they leave us too. That's the way it goes. Okay, if you'll remember, please, that we speak in generalities here. Please no names, et cetera. Okay, so go ahead, state your name and address, and we'll have 2 minutes, even though
Tim
we
Parkin,
have.
9100 Michigami.
Thank you.
So congratulations on all the success tonight. It's awesome. And
I want to get a little bit closer to the microphone. This one is proving a little bit hard to hear. Thank
Okay.
you. Here, I'll
How's that,
pause.
better?
That's much better.
So
Thank you. I'll pause it for a
congratulations
second.
on the success tonight. I think 2 things that organizations have to have. One is success, and the other is trust. And that's what I want to talk about. So I brought with me tonight Michigan Hunting and Fishing and Spring Turkey Digests. And these are very important. These are guidelines that citizens who hunt and fish have to follow. These are published by the state of Michigan. And so within here are the times you can hunt, how much the hunting costs, how much the fishing costs. These are very descriptive and very important that you understand how to do that. There's regulations on here when you harvest a deer that you have to report it within 72 hours. That reporting is very important for conservation and the future of our natural resources. It's very important to know the size of the deer. It's very important to know the age of the deer. It's very important to know the sex of the deer. So on one hand, the state of Michigan is very implicit in that I understand these. If I don't, it could be thousands of dollars of fines. It could be jail time. It's biology. Now here at Clarkston, things are a little bit different from what I can see. Here at Clarkston, we have a link to a website called It Gets Better, where men dressed in women's clothes, grown adult men with beards, tell our children that just because I have male parts doesn't make me a man. President Joe Biden is on there with political beliefs. So these are beliefs, these are political statements, these are sexual statements. According to our policy, we don't allow that. We do not discriminate against anybody. But the way I understand it, if someone were to come here and start to talk about their beliefs, that's not tolerable.
Okay.
So I'd like to see the website taken down.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Parkin. Item 10 is information items. We have a long list because it's a busy time of year, but let me read these for the record and for those watching at home. 10.1, the Clarkston Community Awards Breakfast this Wednesday, May 10th, 7:30 a.m. at Clarkston Community Church. Item 10.2, the CSM Tech Student Showcase, also Wednesday, May 10th, 5 p.m. The CHS Terrace area, which I'm assuming is...
It's the basement.
Oh, it's the basement. Okay. The basement.
Basement.
I didn't know what terrace area meant. Thank you so much. Mrs. Allen's pointing, Mr. Hires got in my ear. Thank you so much. Item 10.3 is the military signing ceremony, Thursday, May 11th at 1 p.m. in the LGI room. That is an amazing, amazing ceremony to see for our students who are going on to military service after graduation. Item 10.4, the National Honor Society induction ceremony, Thursday, May 11th, 7 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center, this room that we're in now. We will have a Board of Education workshop meeting Monday, May 15th, next Monday, 6 p.m. For a bond update, we will be in the Junior High School Administrative Conference Room. Clarkston Junior High School trustees, note that, please. 10.6, the Clarkston Foundation Teacher of the Year ceremony, Thursday, May 18th, 4:30 at the Administration Building. The last day for Clarkston High School and Renaissance High School seniors, so we will have our clap out that day. And then our senior walk and picnic, Friday, May 19th. So we will begin those ceremonies here in the high school at 9:30, trustees. Clarkston High School graduation, Tuesday, May 23rd, 6 p.m. at Pine Knob Music Theater. The Adult Transition Program graduation, Wednesday, May 24th, 2:30 p.m. at Independence Oaks Park. Renaissance High School graduation dinner and ceremony, Thursday, June 1st. Dinner at 5 p.m. at Renaissance High School, followed by the ceremony at 7 p.m. at the junior high. The last day of school is a half day for students, Friday, June 9th. And then our June Board of Education, the last meeting of our school year, will be Monday, June 12th. It's a long one. We will have a workshop with a strategic plan update beginning at 5 p.m., followed by our 23-24 budget hearing at 6:30, and then our regular meeting at 7. We will be back over in our normal location at the board office for that. Mark your calendars, friends. Item 11 is a closed session. We will move into a closed session here in this building. There will be no decisions made coming out of that closed session, so we will adjourn our meeting from that closed session. And then it is for the purposes of collective bargaining employee insurance. Let's change that language, please, for the motion, not a personnel matter. May I have a motion, please, to go into closed session?
I move that the Board of Education goes into closed session to discuss matters subject to collective bargaining negotiations.
Support.
Ms. McLean, may I have a roll call, please? Vote.
Yes. Mrs. Egan?
Yes.
Mr. Hire?
Yes.
Mrs. McGinnis?
Yes.
Mr. Need?
Yes.
Mrs. Crane?
Yes.
Mrs. Orr?
Yes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to move into closed session, and we will adjourn from there. Thank you for coming tonight. We'll see you next month. We'll see you next week at the junior high, next month back at the administration building.